I didn't hear about it. Yeah. Evelyn didn't hear it, but I heard them on, Yvette.
Yeah, she's gonna be wait. So you started.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I don't want to keep you guys waiting. I'm hoping to get you all out before the snow starts to fall. So you'll be safe at home. If you do have cell phones, please mute them at this time. We do not have quorum at this moment, but we won't be voting until after the meeting, so pretty close to the end of the meeting, I should say. So if anyone wants to know, they can stay or they can leave, and our staff person will let you know the decision that was made this evening. Thank you. The Aldermanic Affairs Committee of the Board of Alders will meet in person on Monday, February 27, 2023 at 6 p.m. in the Board of Alders chamber located at 165 Church Street, second floor, New Haven, Connecticut, to hear and act on the following items. Item number 1, order of the New Haven Board of Alders approving the appointment of Benjamin Bond to the Commission on Disabilities. Number 2, order of the New Haven Board of Alders approving the appointment of Carmen R. Correa Rios to the Commission on Disabilities. Number 3, order of the New Haven Board of Alders approving the appointment of Cordell Benite to the Historic District Commission. Number 4, order of the New Haven Board of Alders approving the appointment of Dr. Donald McCauley Jr. to the Commission on Youth. Number 5, order of the New Haven Board of Alders approving the appointment of Sarah Fika to the Democracy Fund Board. Item 6, order of the New Haven Board of Alders approving the appointment of Leslie McCourt to the Democracy Fund Board. Number 7, Olivia Sally to the Commission on Equal Opportunities. Number 8, order of the New Haven Board of Alders approving the reappointment of Susan Redstone to the Retirement Board of the City of Employees. Number 9, order of the New Haven Board of Alders approving the reappointment of Kenneth Borenson to the New Haven Redevelopment Agency. Number 10, order of the New Haven Board of Alders approving the reappointment to Karen Good to the Democracy Fund Board. Number 11, order of the New Haven Board of Alders approving the reappointment of James O'Connell to the Democracy Fund Board. And number 12, order of the New Haven Board of Alders approving the reappointment of Sergio Rodriguez to the Democracy Fund. Full order, Honorable Rosa Suarez, Santana Chair, attest Honorable Michael Smart, City Clerk. These items are in file and available in the office of the City Town Clerk, room 202 at 200 Orange Street, New Haven, Connecticut, 06510. For accessibility-related accommodations, please call 203-946-7651 voice or 203-946-8582 TTY-TDD. Public testimony can be also submitted via email at public testimony newhaven@newhavenct.gov before 2 p.m. on the day of the meeting. This meeting will be viewed on the New Haven Board of Alders YouTube page. And I'd like, actually we do have quorum now, so I would like my committee members to introduce themselves. To my left.
Alex Guzman, Ward 1.
Tom Fickman, Ward 28.
Evelyn Rodriguez, Ward 4.
Alder Rosa Ferraro Santana, Ward 13, Chair of the Committee.
Alder Gerald Antunes, Ward 12, Vice Chair.
Thank you. And the first that we're going to call in the item that they are on the agenda is Benjamin Bond. Is he here? Come on up, Benjamin.
Where am I headed?
Right here. Good evening.
Good evening.
Could you state your name and address for the record?
Yes, my name is Ben Bond, like James Bond, B-O-N-D. My address is 105 Nash Street, New Haven, Connecticut, 06511.
Thank you. And the Commission on Disabilities, what is your interest and desire that you want to be on this committee?
Absolutely. I am currently working at a national disability nonprofit called Respectability as a Faith Inclusion and Belonging Associate, working on bringing accessibility to religious communities around the country. I met Gretchen, the director, through one of these events, and I have been working on disability activism both in the nonprofit sense and also in educational settings as a student activist, particularly at Yale University. I started Yale Divinity School's first student activist organization called Divine Abilities, and I've been kind of like in and out of the disability activism space for the past 5 years, and being part of this commission allowed me the opportunity to protect the disabled community and ensure our safety and also inclusion in kind of broader citywide events and activities.
Thank you. Any questions from the committee? Yes. Alder Guzman.
Oh, no, I think that was all the
Alder Pickwood.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have to give props to the Divinity School being a graduate myself, so tell me a little bit about your experience there and why this was so important for you to start that organization.
Absolutely. Good to see a fellow alumni. I recently graduated in May. I'm actually ordained in a progressive Protestant denomination called the Disciples of Christ. I have been really involved in kind of in my own personal life, living with disabilities, and bringing that to the conversation with different religious communities, as it's a really important domain of life that disabled folks deserve the right to have access to and be a part of. And part of what the Divinity School allowed me to do is explore kind of the history of how disability has been a part of or excluded in religious community, and opening up a space to have those kind of conversations around reconciliation and the harm that has been done within religious communities towards disabled folks, and how disabled people can be able to engage in those communities in really life-changing ways and ultimately liberating ways is the hope. So that was kind of the crux of my interest and what brought me into that space. So glad to see another divinity person in this space.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes, Alder Guzman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for being here tonight. I was just wondering, could you talk a little bit about some of your work with fish? I mean, you did it during the heart of the pandemic, which as we all know, crazy time for a lot of folks. So I was just wondering if you could just briefly talk a little bit about that experience and how that went and how it connects sort of your desire to be on the commission.
Absolutely. I think, so for context, I was the person working both the phone lines as the front-facing, interacting with New Haven citizens to ensure that food was given to disabled folks who could not get to food pantries themselves, and also folks experiencing COVID-19 isolation during the period of 2020 to 2021. And I was kind of given a real firsthand glance at what the disparities that disabled people who are low income were facing, as opposed to other low income folks within our communities. And I was able to talk to those folks one-on-one, often going through some really tough times of crisis, brought about by the pandemic, and also just like compounding issues that the pandemic kind of exacerbated that were already there. So I really had an incredible opportunity to be able to serve the disability community in a very direct way and providing food and sustenance in a time where that was not always accessible to a lot of our community in New Haven. So being a part of that work really I think directed me to want to be on this commission to kind of further that commitment and ensure that equity and access for everybody within the city.
Thank you for the answer. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I noticed in your documentation you provided that you are a pod host.
Oh, podcast host.
And can you tell me how you feel that would help you in this position?
That's a fun question. So kind of I plan on actually within my current professional life, we're going to be starting a podcast where we are featuring different disabled voices around the nation, and I'd be really excited to bring disabled folks from the New Haven community into that podcast space. That'd be really cool. I had the opportunity to do it at Yale University and interview some really incredible scholars doing work completely unrelated to disability stuff. But I really find that having the opportunity to sit down with folks one-on-one and hear their experiences is really important for creating change and crafting policy that really is person-centered and not just system-centered, or system-centered that is focused on personal need. Yeah, hopefully that's a cool insight to how a podcast that would be helpful. But yeah, thank you.
Good answer. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I have no further questions. Thank you for your testimony this evening.
Excellent. Thank you all so much for a good time. Yeah.
Pleasure.
Next up is Carmen Arcolea Rios. Good evening, have a seat. State your name and address for the record, please.
Carmen Correa Rios, 169 Summit Street, New Haven,
Okay.
06513.
And you also want to sit on the Disability Commission. Tell me why you would want to sit on this commission and what will you think you can bring to the commission?
As an executive director of an organization that serves people with disabilities and also serve the New Haven area and other areas in the state, in the greater New Haven area. But I sit in a couple boards and I met Gretchen and she thought it would be a good opportunity to have somebody who just live in New Haven, but also serve an organization and works in an organization that serves the people in New Haven, the disabled community. It makes sense.
Yes, it does. Any questions from the committee? Alder Guzman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for being here. I think my really question is, sort of in your experience working within the disability rights community, you mentioned you do work, in New Haven and the greater New Haven area. I was just wondering, what are some of the issues that you think has stuck out to you in all your years working in terms of what folks bring up, services that they might need, services that they might need, any issues that you sort of heard about or really seen a lot of that might be helpful to think about.
I have been with CDR, the Center for Disability Rights, for the last 28 years in different capacities. Is housing always has been one of the biggest issues that we face every year, regardless what's going on out there. We also help people with transportation. Sometimes it's an issue as well. It all depends what areas are we talking. I think New Haven is not as bad as Derby and other places, but transportation is. And accommodations, reasonable accommodations. We help a lot of people with reasonable accommodations in different areas. It could be from housing to job, employment, education, students. I think that I had the opportunity to deal with all the issues out there in the community.
Thank you so much for that answer. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any further questions? Alder Rodriguez.
Thank you. It's a pleasure seeing you here in a different capacity. We were, for the first time, introduced this this past week in a crisis that I had with a couple of disabled individuals. And I wasn't able to meet Ms. Correa when I called the 1-800 line and was able to connect directly with her. And she immediately started an intervention. And I thought that was very special about you. But my question is, when you see what would you say in reference to your position in the commission in reference to communication and the disabled?
Okay, can you repeat the question? for me?
What could you share in reference to communication and the disabled?
Okay, I don't think I'm understanding the question.
How would you say communication would be toward individuals who are disabled in any facet of what they would need?
Okay. And I'm not getting the question, I'm sorry.
That's good. Let's say, for example, what type of communication would you be able, or do you think that anyone would need to help the disabled?
Well, if we're talking just in regards to communication, it all depends your disabilities. It could go from interpreters, or that's what you're talking about?
Yes.
The language. Well, communication is a big thing. It's a big thing, not just in the disabled community, in general as well. If we can communicate needs or wants, or we are lost.
As you know, that disabled have all sorts of incapacities, right? And documentation and all sorts of ways that individuals need to communicate whatever is significant and important to help the disabled. So that, are you willing to say that you're willing to share and to make sure that in terms of communication that you would work on making things a lot better for the disabled in terms of communication in any facet?
No, indeed.
Vocally, documentation, in any facet.
Yes, indeed. In
Thank
any
you.
way that we can support the commissions and the commissioners and the community, we will be in a personal capacity on as an administrator of an organization that serves people with disability. We're there to help in any way we can in the mission.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Madam Chair.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
That's okay. It's not a communication.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to try and make mine really easy. I have a concern about accessibility. And I go to the, for instance, the grocery store, you go to Walmart, and you find these electric carts. They're left out in the parking lot. I'm sure you've seen them. Some people use them and then they leave them out there. What kind of things do you think could be done or that you would do to help alleviate their problem? Because it happens at all of the.
I think that it should start with the management to let them know the importance of having this type of vehicles in the store and available. And if they are in the outside, they are not in the place that they should be. And also, I think that we can be creative and suggest ways to maybe a charge. Maybe if we use a credit card, people will leave them in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of ways that the issue could be resolved. This all depends what they're willing to do in the store. If that's what you're asking me.
Yes.
Okay.
Matter of fact, you answered my follow-up question too. So
Okay.
thank you.
You are very welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. I hope that we can come together and make a difference.
That's always our hope. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cordell Benoit? I'd like to announce that Alderman Beth Hamilton has also joined the committee. Thank you. Hello.
Hello,
Good
good evening.
address for the record.
My name is Cordelie Benoit, I live at 19 Court Street, New Haven, Connecticut.
And you're being asked to sit on the Historic District Commission.
Yes.
You don't sound too happy.
Well, it takes a lot of time.
It does take a lot of time. And it is.
It's an important job though, so.
Yes, it is a very important job, and the aspect of this job is to ensure that residents have their properties that are in the historic district maintain the integrity of the historic district. And the job, and I've dealt with the Historic District Commission on many levels, and it's great to have another opportunity for someone else to be able to join the committee and to give different understanding, and hopefully your input would be valued. Any questions from the committee? Yes. Alder Anchin and then Alder Hamilton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
I just had a question for you that may seem off track, but will lighten up your evening a little bit. Since we're talking about historic districts, did you know that there are 3 buildings still standing that were police precincts in the 1900s?
In New Haven, you mean?
Yes.
No, I didn't know that offhand. No. Where are they located?
There's one at Dixon Webster, it's now a church. There's the one at the Yale and Edgewood, that the Parks Department uses.
Yeah, yeah.
And the third is, that one is actually the same color that it was in the early 1900s. They must have bought a lot of paint. And the last one is, I think it's Hill Development Corporation on Howard Avenue, Howard and Minor.
Yeah, here, yeah.
Yeah.
I recognize that building too. Yeah.
Just thoughts for you, try to lighten up your evening a little bit, get you to relax.
Thank you.
No, you can have this. Okay.
I mean, I have, no, it's, I mean, it's, I'll remember them. It's an interesting fact that I'll remember.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
That is a very interesting fact, and sometimes we forget that these buildings are around.
Well, it's nice that they have constructive reuses, right?
Yes.
That they didn't just abandon them.
There were a few more of them, but they're no longer in practice.
Well, there's Hamilton.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah.
So you sound a little stressed at the thought of being on this commission. Are you sure you're up for it?
Yeah, I think I can do it. Yeah, I mean, it's a 4-year commitment. You have to be a certain age, and 4 years seems like a long time.
Right. And are you aware when the meetings are held? Will you be
They
able
look
to?
like they're on the second Wednesday of the month.
Will you be able to chisel out time in your schedule for the meetings and all?
Yeah, I'm retired.
Okay. Well, retired doesn't mean much. You work harder in retirement than you do when you're on a regular shift. I find anyway.
No, I have the time.
Yeah, and you're up for the challenge. Well, it doesn't sound like a challenge, but you're up for the task. It's,
You mean will I devote the time at meetings?
Yes,
So,
yes.
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
I wouldn't have said yes if I couldn't do it.
all right. Well, sound a little happier like
Well,
my
it's,
colleagues.
you know, it's something that's interesting to me. And when I'm doing it, I'm sure I'll be glad to be doing it. But, you know, it's
I know, it's something new that you have to, I mean, it's like taking a new job. Am I gonna like it? Am I gonna fit in?
yeah. Well, the commission has been a little bit on the dysfunctional side for a while too, so I'm hoping that,
I'm glad you noticed that.
I'm hoping that it'll be better. And I read the statute that enables it, and we actually can bring lawsuits, and I had no idea that that could happen.
So you've
living
done
in
a lot
a,
of homework.
living in a historic district and seeing somebody put snap-in fake colonial windows across the street
Mm.
when we have the, one divided light,
Mhm.
wood, it breaks my heart. But I said, why don't we do something about that? He said, oh, we don't know what happened, blah, 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 blah. But, one or two lawsuits can get people to pay attention, if necessary, right?
Yeah, it's necessary.
Yeah, I'm not saying that I can't wait to bring a lawsuit, but it's the kind of thing that if you let things slide,
Yeah.
then you don't really have anything that's meaningful going.
One of the issues that has been brought to our attention, which the board is not willing to have talked about, is the fact that a lot of our historic districts have antennas on the roofs. And they have solar panels. And they are not supposed to have either one of them.
Well, the statute says you can have solar panels as long as it talks about interference, it talks about various things.
Yeah.
So solar panels are not completely forbidden if they can be put in such a way that they're not like on the front of the,
Yeah.
I mean, because they consider them important, I think. I read that in the statute.
And
But antennas, there's other ways of dealing with it.
I'm glad you said that.
Right, you can put it on the back of the building. It doesn't have to be so you can see it from the street.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. And hopefully when things like this come up, things change in the future from one day to another. And so sometimes, did we think about, putting panels on your roofs back 20 years ago? No, 30 years ago. But now it's something that helps the resident save on energy. So
Right.
it's good, cost-efficient use of the panels. But other things, things change from year to year, and we'll always have something new that comes out. And people always want to try them and put them on historic homes. So I think we should find a way to be adaptable to those questions. And I'm hoping that, since it's gone on deaf ears, the historic district, the only thing that happens is when someone complains about a property. If someone complains, I have a lot of historic districts in my ward. So if someone complains about a property to the historic district, they can ask for the person to come in. But if no one complains,
Right.
you will not enforce them to come to the committee. Is that correct? Is that your
Well,
understanding?
I don't know that, I mean, clearly we have neighborhood specialists, they can call it to our attention.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you need to call it to specialist attention, you could do that too, I would think, right? If someone doesn't want to come as a complainer, the neighborhood specialist can come. And my understanding is if you get a building permit and you're in a historic district and you're doing something that affects the facade, they send you to the historic district.
Yeah, that isn't always the case. They don't always get the permits to do it.
No, but if they get a permit.
Yes, if they get a permit.
Yes. I understand people do a lot of things without permits, yeah.
I appreciate the information because we're trying to figure out ways, because we have, in my ward alone, we have like 1,500 residents who are not abiding by the rules.
Well,
And you can't find them all. So
yeah,
we have to figure out ways to either adapt the regulations or to change them or whatever the case may be. So we don't have residents who go out there and say, oh, that building is in disarray, we need to figure out what's going on. Or look, they've got to, is it correct or not correct? So we need some guidance from the historic district to bring to our communities so that they understand what's right and what's wrong.
yes, one of the descriptions of the job is education,
Yes, perfect.
right? I mean, I read it over, so it's education, and I think that's important. And if you have absentee landlords, I don't see any reason not to come down hard on them, because the rent's going out of town.
Yeah. I like your attitude.
Well said.
So you came here with not knowing, but you seem to have already done a lot of research and knowledge. You already have it.
Well, I've been on the board of the Historic Worcester Square Association
Okay,
for about 20 years, and I'm the immediate past president. So, and I'm interested in it. I'm interested in these buildings. I'm interested in the different neighborhoods.
great,
You know, so it's something that does interest me.
wonderful.
So-
Well, that's good to hear. Any other questions? Yes.
Not a question, just a comment. Hopefully you'll walk away from this seeing that there's a potential for us to invest our collaborative power and expertise to move the city forward. So we learn as much from the applicants as hopefully you might learn from us. So we look forward to kind of your continued involvement and your reaching out to us in terms of how we can strategize and make the neighborhood a better place.
Yes, well, it's a city commission for the city, so we should work together,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, there's no question about it.
Thank you so much for your information, and we appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Dr. Donna McCauley, Jr., please. I want to make sure everyone's comfortable in here. We don't interrogate. We want to know what you know. We can help facilitate some information that would help us. So thank you for being open and honest with us, because that's what we want. We want honesty to help us make better decisions about the commissions, the people that we put on commissions. Thank you. So please relax. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Donald D. McCauley Jr., 576 Winthrop Avenue, New Haven, Connecticut, 06511.
Thank you. And you've been appointed to the Commission on Youth.
Yes.
And I will tell you, the Commission on Youth is very near and dear to my heart. And a lot of us on this committee. And so tell us why you want to sit on this commission, and what will you bring to it?
Okay. So this is my second time. So I've served on the commission before. In my first tenure in the youth commission, we did a great job of kind of supporting our students. My personal career has always been in youth development for the past 30 years, whether it be after-school programs, educational equity, learning leadership and educational policies for our students. Recognizing the realities that they are faced with in terms of classrooms, whether it's bullying, whether it's trying to fit in the specific classrooms, language barriers. And so over the past 30 years, I've been able to be supportive with our students, even when I was not a commissioner. And to come back now, I think I'm in a better position to be able to support them as someone that works with the Board of Ed, someone that's connected to our local institutions, to be able to provide them the opportunities that they want access to.
Thank you. Any questions from the commission? Yes, Victor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. With all due respect to your comments prior to Mr. McCauley sitting on that chair, I am going to begin my interrogation. All jokes aside, that Mr. McCauley is a good friend, and his father as well is also a member of a resident of Ward 28. I wanted to ask you, Donald, to share with folks, to take you back to the Elm City Bowl. And before the kickoff, you were honored. Share a little bit about that, then I'll go to my question.
Elm City Bowl, I was awarded the Hall of Fame award through the Connecticut Gridiron Club, where I was acknowledged for my athletic accolades, representing James Hills High School. And so walked out at halftime, celebrated the retirement of Coach Lytle, and then also acknowledging the work that Dr. Tracy has done throughout her tenure in the academic space before her retirement.
So we had this individual, well-deserved achievement that you received, and 30 minutes or so later, toward the end of the game, you had the young people fighting.
Yes.
What did that say to you as an individual and also in conjunction with, was that the lesser tip symbolic example of the kind of the tensions, the trials that we're going through?
I'll be more transparent than anything else. When that happened, I felt it personally. I knew students that were on that team that I had coached before in previous times. I stepped in and helped de-escalate situations with students specifically. I was a college athlete and a high school athlete, so I've seen fights in hallways. I've been a youth development coordinator for the Board of Ed, so I've broken up fights numerous times. What resonated in that situation was that there wasn't a connection between the coaching staff and the students. And so when I'm able to step in whatever capacity I'm in, that individuals resonate with me to say, listen, we need to go back to the locker room. I'm not your coach. It says a lot. And I think that students need meaningful relationships. Meaningful relationships when tension is high. And so to show up at Thanksgiving, I don't know if they showed up because I was the Hall of Fame person or I played football or I went to Hill House, but there was a capacity that there were individuals I never met before to walk on the field, and that could be a dangerous space. And we've seen situations with Cross and Babson where we had to cancel games. And so you recognize that you are in a very dangerous territory. And so to have students just to hear your name, to hear you call them out and they see you eye to eye and they go back to the locker room meant a whole lot. And so it didn't diminish anything, but it did resonate where we have a population of students that are hurting in different ways, don't do well with failure, don't do well with losses. And these are learning lessons that need to be more ingrained into their fabric. I mean, they're going to probably take more losses than they're going to have wins. And when we have those meaningful conversations, not just about grit, but about life expectations. It's not always perfect. And so I think those are the moments that we lost a lot of our kids because it took one loss. And that one loss kind of diminishes a lot of their lives.
Thank you.
Yes, Alder Rodriguez.
A pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, pleasure to meet you.
Macaulay.
How you doing?
Fine, thank you. Can you tell us where you are currently teaching?
I'm an assistant professor at Quinnipiac University in the School of Business. Teach sport management, organizational leadership, and authentic leadership, full tenure.
And my other question is, in reference to sports communication, how do you see the communication in reference to sports and addressing or helping to do some sort of intervention in reference to guns and violence in youth? Thank you.
Perfect question. So probably one of my presentations. So when we think about sport comm, I taught sport comm at UConn. So we teach sport comm from a space of journalism. But the reality is that we talk more about the critical discourse about what does sport communicate? Criminality. Who is the criminal? Who is the violent person? How do we think about different promotions around athletics and crime, violence? You're talking about aggressive sports, contact sports like football and basketball, and then you look at situations of promotions around low-income families, impoverished communities, the level of violence, and how do you weaponize their personifications? And so I would have conversations, and I do have conversations at this point about how do we think about sports personifying these ideals of community? When we talk about, like, we use language around animalizing people. So it's their dogs, their beasts. We're really talking about the capacity of violence. We inundate them with these ideas in the sport. And it becomes important that we think about sport and communicate sport with a level of humanity. You're talented, you're skillful. There are different barriers that describe sport, but when we talk about sometimes our athletes, we talk about them in very animalistic ways that allow them not to see their own humanity. And then they inundate themselves with these ideas about their dehumanizing themselves, which creates these moments of violence is almost inevitable, specifically for other individuals. And so to answer your question, sport is a vehicle when done right, but it has to be done right for it to manifest into something where individuals can see the transferable skills.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor McCoy.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Chair.
I wanted to say that I am an alumni of Quinnipiac University, and I went through the organizational leadership program, and myself and someone else were the first graduates. There was two of us that graduated when the organizational opportunity became open. So I see that it's a great opportunity for people to engage in that leadership ability because it's important. And it's been very successful.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Alder Hamilton.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening,
You
sir.
do.
Sounds like you have a lot to offer to the youth. I like that. I'm impressed. So you sound very busy. Now you're gonna make time if, approved, for this commission. Will you be able to, dedicate the time that sounds like you might need to make some positive impression on our youth?
No, so I think I'm fortunate in my I'm fortunate in my life to this is overlap.
Okay.
So these are things where I've already support youth services in this window. I support the Board of Ed in different endeavors. I support other youth programs that are already happening. And so I think that I've done a good job of layering my life in ways that still allow me to support my children are still within the Board of Ed program. And so I'm very connected to all the programs, athletic department, and the through and throughs. And so when there's conversations and interventions with youth, I've been there for Youth Connect, Youth Family Community Engagement. And so as that being fundamental to my just day to day already, I'm already in the same spaces that the meetings are happening. So really being on the commission only just helps to intensify those specific relationships, specifically when you don't have individuals that are on those boards and in those meetings to understand the inner workings of athletics or student engagement or Youth Connect or anything else happening at universities where we want to recruit more students to come to Quinnipiac and our local institutions.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you. You sound like you have a very talented background, and the Commission on Youth will be very happy to have someone who is so talented.
Thank you.
So, and I would like you to let us know on this board that if you're selected, that you let us know if things on the commission are not working. We want to know.
Absolutely.
Because the kids are our future, and we want to make sure that they are being in their best capable hands if possible.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sarah Pica? Hello. Hi. State your name and address for the record.
Sarah Fica, 120 Worcester Street, Unit A.
And you're being appointed to the Democracy Fund Board.
Yes.
And your interest in what do you feel like you bring to the commission?
I don't actually see a lot of problems on the commission now. I think it's very well run. And I just want to keep it going that way. I really believe that this particular fund could be an example to other cities. I think it's a model that could be duplicated, and I would really love to be a part of shepherding it, keeping it going, and just ensuring that it is still well run into the future so that other people could see it as a good example.
Thank you. Any questions from the committee? Alder Angel.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Could you tell me, first of all, have you been to any of the meetings already?
Just one.
And what do you think you can offer for the future of this community?
So to go into the past a little bit, I actually ran a campaign where we interacted with the Democracy Fund. So I do have a knowledge of it from that perspective of how it operates. So not going in cold in that way. But personally, and I know this is something hard to get from a short interview, but I really believe in morality and honesty, and I want to see the funds continue to be delegated in what I've seen a very fair way. I think they've done a wonderful job of, regardless of political party, regardless of opinions and personal feelings, being very fair. And I experienced that as someone on a campaign. And it's impossible for you to know that about me, but I'm just one of those people. I cannot abide dishonesty, double dealing, friendship dealing, or any of that. And I think they've done a wonderful job being neutral, and I trust myself to be that way.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any other questions?
No, I read your resume. No.
Well, thank you. I want to say that I appreciate you asking people about time, because I think there's a lot of people in New Haven who do a lot, and they don't know when to say no sometimes. So I appreciate you like digging down a little on that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Leslie Hill, Hessel, McCurk. And I'm sorry if I mutilated your name. Hi. Hi.
Good evening.
State your name and address from the record.
Sure. My name is Leslie Heffel McGurk, and my address is 942 Elm Street, New Haven.
Okay. And you're also being asked to sit on the Democracy Fund.
Yes.
And what leads you to want to do that, and what do you believe you can bring?
Sure. So I have been working on kind of local civic issues for a long time. Right now I work with the League of Women Voters of Connecticut and of New Haven. I'm a board member on the Connecticut State Board and on the steering committee of the New Haven League. In the past, the New Haven League has partnered with the Democracy Fund to host a debate, which I thought was great. And I would love to see more of those kind of community building opportunities and coalition building opportunities. And then just personally, I recently ran for office just to kind of see what that's all about. And I have a lot of thoughts about equity and access to fundraising dollars for campaigns, and the importance of making sure that's available to people who maybe don't have the capacity to self-fund their campaigns. So I think it's an issue that I think is very interesting and would like to definitely work on.
Any questions from the committee?
I have one.
Dr. Rodriguez.
I'm going to ask you to take a chance at it.
Okay.
Hey, how would you compare alumni affairs to Democracy Fund?
It's interesting. So I've had a long time of experience in alumni and student affairs, and a lot of that is volunteer management and communicating with groups of people about their responsibilities and their rights as students or as alumni, and basically working with large groups of people on that have become a community in some way. And democracy is kind of based on that we all kind of find ourselves in a community, and we all have rights and responsibilities to that community. And different people have different levels of information about what that means. And I think one thing I see both as a student affairs, alumni affairs person, and as a democracy nerd, is trying to teach people about what that community is, like how that community can benefit from their participation and how they can get involved in that.
And would you say also the opportunity in reference to a potential person that could become an elected official and a student that can accomplish their goals in
Yeah.
academics?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Good. Tell me, if you think about your greatest achievement over the past 10 years, how can you relate that to being a member of the board?
Wow. I think my general greatest achievement over the last 10 years has really been clarifying what's important to me as a person. Kind of, going from, these are all of the things in the world that I'm interested in to these are things that I'm interested in and I feel like I can do something about. And definitely civics and democracy and just engagement generally in communities is what are very strong values for me. And that's kind of what I'm going for with being on this board, is the idea that I can contribute to those values because they mean so much to me. So I don't know if that makes sense.
Yes. I'm glad you answered it that way because it leads into my next question.
Sure.
When you think about being on this board, you think about any shortfalls of the board in the way it's functioning or what it does, what kind of things would you do to improve that?
I see that right now the board's in a kind of growing period where it is, I believe they've submitted some some documents suggesting additions and changes to the program to make it maybe more fair, more up to date, more and also like expanded. So to bring in the city clerk's role and other, ideally other things one day, other city offices. I would love to see it kind of grow in that way, that that other people who are running for other offices can take advantage of I think what the prestige of having, like, being a democracy fund approved or whatever, and also hopefully being able to use some of the financial benefits from being involved in the fundraising, the ethical fundraising standards and things like that. So I'd like to just I like the direction that they're trying to go in, and I would like to see that keep going. And I'd also like to see just more connections with other pro-democracy organizations in the New Haven area. So like co-sponsoring debates and educational opportunities and things like that. So very, very down for all of that.
I didn't mean to make it a hard question. Just
there are a lot of things. I was like, I have so many feelings about all of this, which is why I'm here.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
Hi, thank you, Chair. Good evening, Leslie. How are you? I know your abilities because you are my constituent in Ward 24, and I know you're a very hard worker. So if confirmed, are you able to put the time necessary? Because it sounds like you have a lot of ideas that you'd like to help contribute to the Democracy Fund, which is a wonderful group of folks, Alison Heimer and the team there, excellent folks. And I think you, if confirmed, you will have a lot to add to their work, So are you able, if confirmed, to just put forth the time and effort, when they meet and, all that good stuff?
Yes. And also I am putting down my term with the state board of the League of Women Voters is ending this summer. And I'm going to be kind of reinvesting in my time in the New Haven Local League, which I think both of those things together would be a really beneficial use of my time. And so, yeah, I'm excited about it.
Wonderful. All right. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Question, Alderman Pickle.
May I call you Leslie?
Yes.
I want to piggyback on Alder Rodriguez's taking the flying leap of faith with the question. Tell me about the new school. For you to make that choice, I'm a big admirer of the new school. I just wondered if you had, tell me about that decision making in your mind. What was the attraction then?
So I actually transferred to the new school. I started at GW for my undergraduate, and I went through 2 years of that, and I finished all my degree requirements for a sociology degree. And then I did not want to take a lot more, like introduction to geology classes and, that kind of stuff. And so I was thinking, like, what do I do with all these interests that I have? And I ended up transferring to the new school because it allows you to explore wherever your interests lie. You can basically take classes in any part of the university, and it meets all of your requirements for your degree. So I was really able to kind of design my own curriculum around history, politics, and democracy, and just kind of make my own thing. And they let me do that, which was great. So, and it's just kind of it's a very special place that I don't think is like 100% for everybody, but it was a really good match for me.
Thanks. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Okay, enough of the questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good
Thank
evening.
you. Thank you.
Bye.
Olivia Sally? Hi. State your name and address for the record.
My name is Olivia Sally, and I reside at 130 Prospect.
And you're being appointed to the Commission on Equal Opportunity.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell us why you would want to sit on this commission, and what do you think you'd benefit from it will bring to the table?
Of course. So I originally applied actually in 2020 when I was barely even a freshman. So I've had a really long-standing interest in equity, but I think over my last 3 years as a student at Yale, I've been able to actually go out to the community and meet people that I think have so much of a vested interest in even government. One of my fondest experiences was, I think it was the 2021 election, and I was actually right outside of City Hall, and I got to interview some new even voters and hear about all their hopes and wishes for local government. And I think that cemented for me really the opportunity for not just this commission, but New government to make a difference. But specifically for this commission, so yes, I am applying for this one, I was really engaged by the history and the mission of it. And I think I got pretty deep into researching. I'm related to law and casework right now. I'm pre-law studying political science. I was just really interested in the ways that this board could do so much good in not only preventing the denial of equal opportunities, but also providing repairs in the case when the denials have already been had. And then in terms of service, I think I'm really interested in the educational programming element of this. And also coming out of the pandemic, I think there's a lot of opportunity to improve the public knowledge of this commission and thus expand its reach. And I think that I'd be able to contribute, but then also learn from the other public servants on the commission, especially considering that I haven't served in a public service field before. So I think that would be really cool as well.
Thank you. Any questions from the committee?
Sure, I'll ask a question. Thank you.
You yell
Thank
at
you,
us
Madam
together,
Chair.
man.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Well, I think I'll just take a page out of Alder Hamilton's book and ask, do you know when the commission meets, and you think you'll be able to set aside time? I mean, as a student, I know things get really busy sometimes, so sometimes trying to figure out how to work that in your schedule might be a bit tricky. But do you already know when they meet and whether you can make those meetings?
Yes, so I've been looking at the calendar. I know it's on a Wednesday from 6 to 8 monthly. Which Wednesday that is, I still have to figure out. But I would say all my Wednesdays from 6 to 8, since most of my classes end at like 4 or 5 at latest. So I'm confident that I'll be able to commit to those, especially with them being monthly, not only showing up to meetings, but also doing the full work necessary to be able to contribute and whatnot.
That's all from me, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I see you originally applied for Civilian Review Board.
Mm-hmm.
Did someone recommend you for this commission, or did you change your mind?
So I applied for this board in 2020 along with a couple of other boards. And in terms of the internal process, a lot of this was just through emails with, I'm blanking on her name now, but.
Yeah.
Yes. So some like internal emails with her going back and forth, but I originally applied to a few of them, but I definitely think that this is kind of where I belong. And again, a lot of these applications were years ago, so I was able to submit an updated application exclusively for the Equal Opportunities Commission more recently. So there are some other ones I think on file, but this is exclusively where my interest lies as of right now.
Well, that's good, because it leads me to the next question.
Okay.
Thinking of this commission, you're on this position, what would your thought be of the one item that if you could change regarding the Equal Opportunities Commission that you would change?
That's a really good question.
I can get it out.
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of difficulty, to be quite candid, in researching the commission, and a lot of links aren't working, and like the opportunities to join, and like what the agenda items are. So I think like first and foremost, making sure that all of that is rectified and accessible to people that are interested in that. And I think on top of that, I'm really interested in the like intergovernmental relations with nonprofits and how we're bringing new nonprofits into the fold, how we're bringing new groups into the fold. And I think also how we're innovating in terms of like the educational programming. Again, there's a little bit like ambiguous as to what that looks like, but imagining new methods. I hope that I'd be able to contribute to that with the comprehensive list of what's available as of right now.
Okay, one last.
Okay.
It's only because just today I read an article
Okay.
about the first Black woman to be hired by the Secret Service.
Okay.
And one of the parts of the article talked about how another woman had gotten transferred around to many different parts of the Secret Service. And they felt that it was just to show off that there was a Black woman in these different serving positions. If that came to you as an issue, how would you deal with that?
I think, this reminds me, I spent my last semester in DC, and I was interning with Kamala Harris, which is, of course, a very prominent Black woman in public service. And that was something that we were faced with a lot, where people were saying that she was like this token, and he was going to hire or select a Black woman, regardless of who it was. So there was nothing really specific about her merits. In terms of denial of equal opportunity, it's a little bit more difficult to say that that was there, considering this person is being circulated. But I think that it would be important to highlight the benefits and the contributions that this person has made in their various opportunity or in their various positions, be it in the Secret Service or another area of government. And I think something that we had to do, which is really unfortunate, specifically when I worked for the vice president, was hearkening over and over upon accomplishments. And hopefully this wouldn't have to happen in the case of Secret Service, but if it came to that, I think that it would be important to be able to research and document all the good that has been done by this individual.
And I think it gets pretty intense.
Yeah.
Thank you for your answer.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any further questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Susan Whetstone.
Good evening.
Good
Good
evening.
evening.
Good evening.
Getting ready for snow.
State your name and address for the record, please.
Susan Whetstone, 243 Front Street, New Haven, Connecticut.
Thank you. And you're being appointed to the Retirement Board of City Employees. Although it says reappointment, but we were actually told that it's actually an appointment rather than a reappointment. Is that accurate, that the way you understand it?
I wasn't clear because I'm already on the board and I'm filling the end of the term of Thomas Kama. So I've been on the retirement board since July of 2020.
Okay.
But I think because it was an unfinished term, this counts as a first appointment. So it would be an appointment to my own term rather than to finishing a term.
Okay. Thank you. And seeing that you're already serving on the board, what do you feel that you accomplished or brought to the commission that you feel benefited whatever it was that you brought to the commission?
I think because I've worked for the city for a number of years, so I have a lot of knowledge about various city requirements, particularly around procurement and purchasing. That has proven to be really helpful in our work at SERF, the City Employee Retirement Fund. A big part of what we do is hire managers through a RFP process. And back in the 80s, I was charged by the mayor to help redesign the RFP contracting process for city purchasing. And so a lot of that is still in place. And I think I've been able to be helpful to the commission or to SERF around that selection process, making sure that we're following all the right steps, that we're getting the proposals in, and that the selection process follows the purchasing requirements.
Any questions? Yes, I'll do, take one.
Susan, I don't think we've talked much one-on-one, but I've followed your career off and on for the last several decades.
Ditto. You too, Alder.
I'm a new alder, which only means I'm using this as an excuse to kind of talk from the heart and not really with the preliminary script. You could have been in an alternate universe, or perhaps even this real universe, governor or mayor of New Haven, governor of the state or mayor of New Haven, easily. Why now? Or do you still want to kind of hang on and not just smell the roses, but kind of still dig in?
You know, I feel very fortunate. I grew up in Milford, and as a kid, my dream was to live in New Haven someday. I mean, literally, that was my dream. And I have loved this city my entire life, whether I lived in it or didn't live in it. I love the people of New Haven. I have just felt so blessed to be part of this community. And a big part of my life has been with the city. And so any opportunity I have, I'm happy to serve. And in fact, I'm kind of embarrassed because I never really volunteered. I got approached about serving, and I said, absolutely, I would serve. So I'm kind of disappointed in myself that I didn't reach out long before this. But how could you not? It's a great city, it's great people. We're just all really blessed for where we live.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your comments. I think it's important that, and your knowledge and value that you add to the Retirement Board of City Employees, because without knowledge and commitment on your part to this endeavor, sometimes things get lost, and so you're doing an added benefit by doing that, and thank you for the years that you served on with the city.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Can I-
Be safe, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no.
Be
I'm
safe going home.
Oh, yes, you two guys too as well. Kenneth Borenson. Hi.
Good evening. I'm Ken Borison, live at 58 Edgewood Street, New Haven.
And you're being appointed to the redevelopment agency.
Right.
And what is your interest and desire to sit on this commission?
So I've been on the commission before. My term was up in 2020. Toward the end, with COVID hitting, kind of just melted away. So Brian McGrath was the chair at the time, with the Townsend mayor. At the time, we were trying to come together to come up with a policy that would support management teams in neighborhoods where there were problematic landlords. And so I feel like, as an architect who's lived in New Haven for over 40 years, I bring that, I can bring that consensus building to the team.
Thank you. I also sit on the reappointment, and we haven't met yet, so
Yeah, it's,
I guess we're trying to find a chair.
yeah.
Hopefully. But thank you.
It was hard to follow Brian.
Yes, it was.
It was,
In more ways than one.
yeah. He had a lot of lore on the history of New Haven.
But yes, he had great ideas. He really, a lot of it was in his heart that he wanted to do. And so he saw the benefits and the opportunities. And sadly, he's not with us any longer. So hopefully we can get this board acting again in the capacity that it was intended.
Yes.
Any questions? We haven't met, so we don't know what the date is.
It's usually in the evening, though. It's usually
Yeah.
around 5 or 6, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Aaron Good? Aaron Good?
This is the
Yeah. Yeah. James McConnell? And Sergio Rodriguez. Oh, I'm sorry. James O'Connor?
Yes.
Okay. I know you didn't have to attend, but since you're here, the Democracy Fund.
Yes.
You're being asked to the reappointment. So what do you feel that you bring to the table and continue serving in that capacity?
Well, I actually, I'm very, very involved in this, the life of the city in terms of trying to ensure that there's been democracy. I've been a multi-time candidate, albeit all of them unsuccessful, for office in the city, most recently being the Board of Education in 2021. And I realized that you can't have a good city unless you have a thriving democracy. And I've had the opportunity to stand in front of the polls with many of you who have run for office, at least in the districts I've run for. And you get to see how important it is. And it's vital, I believe, to have a two-party system. So the Democracy Fund certainly is one that enables some participants to engage in a run for office where they perhaps might not have been able to do so without it. And I would just encourage, I would encourage other people to do similar to what I have done and try to be a full participant.
Wonderful. Any questions from the committee? Okay, seeing none, thank you.
That was quick.
Very quick.
Thank you.
Your reputation speaks for itself, Jim.
Sergio Rodriguez, I saw him earlier.
He's politics.
He ran out the door?
He's politics. Shaking hands.
He knows better than that.
Thank you.
They said when they heard your name,
I'm sorry.
You gotta sing a song.
I'm sorry.
You gotta sing a song.
My age, the bathroom trip is often.
You gotta sing a song.
And the mask is.
Feel free to help me come to a new one.
You gotta sing a song, Sergio.
Hey, how are you doing?
You gotta sing a song.
Good evening, Honorable Chairwoman, Honorable Vice Chair, and honorable members of this committee. My name is Sergio Rodriguez. I live at 142 Jedwin Avenue, New Haven, Connecticut, and I am humbly here to ask for a reappointment as currently the chair of the Democracy Fund. New Haven Democracy Fund.
and my colleague here said that when you heard your name, you went out running. So.
No.
And I said, he knows better than that. You are not here because of your attendance, obviously, but you are here. So what do you feel the direction and where do you want the Democracy Fund to go?
Well, I mean, I think in the last, probably in the last few years that I've been chair of the fund, we've done a variety of different things. We've changed bylaws. We've changed the ability to be able to vote on items because before me, the commission was having, the fund was having a difficult time having quorum to be able to vote on things. So, so I set up a committee to change the bylaws and look at the bylaws. We're now looking at amending the current ordinance so it's more readable, so it's more understandable, so it's easier to understand. We're also looking, I think we've turned in a pilot project, a couple of pilot projects to look at expanding the fund. So I think under my leadership, we've done a lot of interesting work in not only expanding the source of money for the fund, because we did put some of the money in the CD and we created some money out of that. But we've also increased participation. We've had, in the last election, we had participation. I think in this year's election, we're going to have 2 or 3 folks, utilizing the fund to be able to run. And I think it's created an opportunity for people to have a level playing field and to be able to, not count on all that big money, but look at, be able to connect with their constituents and really talk to them about what's going on and what's happening. So I think a lot of work has been done in the last several years to improve the fund, to make it better, and work hard at increasing participation in it. And we're going to be coming before you at some point, your larger body and one of your smaller body, one of your committees, to look at amending the ordinance and also possibly creating some changes. And we're excited about that.
How long would you say the Democracy Fund has been?
Since 2007.
That's what I thought. It wasn't that long ago. Well.
And I think I was on the board
when
we did it. When we did it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And that's when, no, but I remember. I didn't move. But anyway,
I'm happy to entertain any questions you might have besides that. I love being here and being in front of you and being at this table because it's an unusual time to be on. But it's great to be here.
Sergi and I served together for a long time, and 8 years together, I think.
Sergi and I served together.
Yeah.
Sergio and I worked together in the Ravens fighting back.
We've done a lot, right, a long time ago.
Fighting back.
A long time ago. Yeah.
Keep hope alive.
That's right. A long time ago.
Yes, Jackson.
Captain was around then too. Yeah, we're doing community policing at that point. Yeah. How are you doing?
Wonderful.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Yes,
Alderman.
yes.
As always.
I don't really have any questions for you. It really would have pertained to your attendance, but you have great attendance, so you're 100% since you're the chair. And I thank you for getting us those numbers.
I'm excited about the 2 new folks that have come on board. One of the things that we've really been lacking in is really participation on the fund. Having members to be the full 7 members. Although we have one that's coming out and he'll stay there until somebody replaces him. We'll have a full board with him there right now, but we're having a lot of issues with not having enough people. And I'm thrilled that two young ladies that were here before and came before you have applied, and hopefully you'll give them some strong consideration to be on the fund. We're looking forward to it.
And that would fill your.
Well, we'll end up losing one at some point because he's aged out in terms of his participation.
Okay.
So, you know, we'll hope we get a replacement for him, but he stays on until we do get a replacement for him. So we're looking. But it'll almost have us filled up, which is exciting.
Yeah.
Because giving more people to work with, to do more things.
Yeah.
We had, this past year, we had a couple of our folks attend a national conference on democracy funds. And we'd like to bring that national conference here to Connecticut. So we're excited about working on that. But, you know, it's a lot of work to pull that together, but now with a couple of new people, I think that's going to be very helpful. That's good to kind of pull that off. And I'm excited about that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much for hearing me out anyway.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Nice seeing you guys.
Nice to see you also, sir.
Good
Take
to see
care.
you guys.
Stay low for the minutes.
Yeah, I sure will.
Take care.
Yeah.
And that is all for the attendees that we have on our agenda this evening. Is there anyone here from the public that would like to testify for or against any of them now? Please come up.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Allison Heimer. I live at 107 Carlton Street in Hamden. I was born in New Haven, though, so please don't hold the Hamden address against me. I'm the administrator of the New Haven Democracy Fund, and I just wanted to make myself available to answer any questions that you guys might have about the people that are being reappointed or about the people who have expressed interest in joining the board. This evening, I will say that it's been quite a pleasure to serve with Aaron Good, who was not able to be here this evening. He is doing work that is relevant to the fund right now by testifying for legislation up in Hartford. So unfortunately, he could not be here in person, but he definitely embodies the spirit of the fund and has been a healthy contributor to our conversations, our debate, and our productivity. I also would love to speak in favor of Sergio Rodriguez, who has been our chair for a few years now. He definitely brings a unique perspective as someone who has served in public office, run for public office, run for citywide office, and he definitely helps drive some of the actions that we do while also having that delicate balance of not being biased, not showing favoritism, you know, skipping out on endorsing people, which a lot of people who have been involved in politics for a really long time love to do. So it's quite a sacrifice for all of the members to maintain that, you know, that neutrality. But if you guys have any questions, please let me know.
No questions.
Okay.
But I do like the fact that you're here on behalf of your Democracy Fund candidate. And that's important, and we appreciate it because it shows your interest in making sure that you have your committee fully attended. So yes, I wish more of them would do it.
Well, it's incredibly important, especially during an election year. We already have people who have started to file. You know, we will be also coming to you for a budget request to make sure we can do the work of the fund. And then there's also legislation going through the legislative committee that's going to basically clear up a lot of issues that we have with the ordinance, a lot of discrepancy, fix some of the like loophole language that has been troublesome in the past. And there's also a pilot program that might work for alders to take something called the Democracy Fund Pledge, which would allow you to say that you know, symbolically want to adhere to the same rules, that no big money in politics, the, you know, making sure that your contributions are coming from registered New Haven voters and have a minimal, you know, grant associated with that, but have it be something that you guys get to participate in, and anybody who wants to run for Alder in the future would get to participate. And so those pieces of legislation will be coming through, and I'm excited to make sure that you guys are aware of them.
Thank you. That's
Absolutely.
very good
Thank you.
news. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Allison.
Is there anyone else here that would like to speak on behalf of any of the candidates this evening? For or against? Anyone else here from the public would like to testify for or against any of the candidates this evening? Is there anyone here from the public that would like to testify for or against any of the candidates this evening? Seeing none, I'd like to make a motion to close the public portion. The motion has been seconded. All in favor, any discussion on the second? No? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, the motion has carried. What is the wishes of the committee?
Madam Chair, I move item 1 to the approval of Benjamin Bond to the Commission on Disabilities.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Discussion. Didn't see no discussion. All in favor of moving his appointment, say aye.
Aye.
None opposed? Yes,
Oh,
you
yeah.
had a question?
Yeah, I noticed here it says the term expiration date needed to be amended from February 11th, 2025 to February 11th, 2026. Not sure if we do that now.
Yes, yes, you can.
Okay, then I'd like to make a motion to amend the term expiration date from February 11th, 2025 to February 11th, 2026 for Benjamin Bond.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Discussion on the date of being changed to 2/11 of 26. Any, no discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. The motion carries. Thank you. What is the next, item?
Madam Chair, I move item number 2, approve the appointment of Carmen Correa Rios to the Commission on Disabilities.
Second.
Has been moved and seconded. Discussion. Yes, Alder Guzman.
This is just another term expiration date amendment, from February 11th, 2024 to February 11th, 2026.
Okay.
So I'll just, make the motion to amend that.
Yeah, that's a friendly amendment, because, the, item was, incorrectly stated.
Mhm.
All in favor of changing the date to 2026 and approving Carmen Correa Rios to the Commission on Disabilities? Say aye.
Aye.
Okay, there's no nay, there's no opposition.
Madam Chair, I move item number 3, the appointment of Cordelie Benoit to the Historic District Commission.
Second.
There's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I move item number 4, the appointment of Donald McCauley Jr. to the Commission on Youth.
Second.
Has been moved and seconded. Discussion. Yes, Alder Hamilton.
Thank you, Chair. Dr. McCauley, Professor McCauley, very, very enlightening, gentleman. I think he's gonna contribute a lot. He's already working in a lot of the areas with youth, and I think he's just gonna be a big added plus to the Youth Commission. So I'm in favor of his appointment.
Thank you. Yes, Alder Guzman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, I just like to speak in favor as well. Had a really, really insightful answers to a lot of the questions our colleagues asked. Just really impressed. His resume speaks for itself, and his answers spoke for itself. So I'd like to be in favor of his appointment. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I move item number 5, the appointment of Sarah Fika to the Democracy Fund Board.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, I move item number 6, the appointment of Leslie Ethel McGurk to the Democracy Fund Board.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, discussion.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Alder Hamilton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I know Leslie Heckelman. She's a constituent in Ward 24, hardworking lady, very dedicated to whatever task she attempts, and I give her my full support for the Democracy Fund.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I move number 7, the appointment of Olivia Sally to the Commission on Equal Opportunities.
Second.
Moved and seconded, discussion. Yes, Alder Hamilton.
Thank you, Chair. She seems very well versed,
Mhm.
knowledgeable, and I think she would be a very big plus to that commission. I'm in favor of her approval also.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Yes, Alder Guzman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, I'm also in favor. I think a lot of the experiences, I think like their answers to a lot of questions colleagues asked, and also a lot of the experiences she's indicated on her resume indicate she'd be up to the task of for delving into a lot of the nitty gritty stuff that comes with serving on and learning about Equal Opportunities Commission. So I'm in favor of the appointment. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, thank you. The motion carries.
Madam Chair, I move item number 8, the appointment or reappointment of Susan Whitstone to the Retirement Board for city employees.
Second.
Has been moved and seconded. Discussion.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
I'd like to note, based on the literature review of Ms. Weston's resume, that she has affiliations with many significant boards in the city. Like, for example, Yale New Haven Hospital, the Board of Directors, and the Community Foundation for Greater New Haven, New Haven Board of Education, City of New Haven's Department of Fire Services, Yale Public Interest Law Initiatives, and others. I think this is very important because sitting on boards of this nature can only but expand her experience, that rich experience that she could bring to this commission. Thank you, Madam Chair.
thank you. Any further, yes, Alder Andrews and then Alder Hamilton.
Well, I just wanted to make sure we clarified if it's an appointment or a reappointment, because she said she was appointed to serve out a term of someone else.
Right.
So that was an appointment.
Yes,
This would constitute a reappointment.
correct. Staff, do you have any?
We have no record of legislative action approving an appointment.
Oh, okay.
So we're taking this as an appointment.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you for the clarification, Staff. Yes, Alder Hamilton.
So it'll be an appointment or reappointment, whatever the status may be. I say Ms. Susan Whetstone is a very excellent candidate. She's already working. She's very knowledgeable. You can't get better than her on this commission. So I'm definitely in favor of her being on the commission, be it an appointment or reappointment.
Thank you.
Okay.
Alder Guzman.
I'm also in favor of her reappointment. I think just wanted to add an additional amendment just to revise the order and title indicated on page 55A, and then the term expiration date from January 1st, 2026 to December 31st, 2025. So yeah, to just like to make the motion to make those amendments to accurately reflect, for the record.
Duly noted. He is suggesting that we add a friendly amendment, changing the date from 12 to 12/31/25. And any further questions? All in favor of the appointment, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, it is an appointment, not a reappointment.
Same situation.
No reappointments for,
Is it a reappointment or appointment? So we can get it right the first time.
This is an appointment. We talking about,
Ken
Ken
Borson.
Borson. We've never met.
well, yeah, but his term, he was appointed.
Yeah, so was I.
This is a reappointment.
Yeah, it's a reappointment even though you haven't met.
Okay. Move to item number 9, the reappointment of Kenneth Borson, New Haven Redevelopment Agency.
Second.
We're both did second in discussion. Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries.
Madam Chair, I move item number 10, the reappointment of Aaron Good to the Democracy Fund Board.
Second.
Moved in second in discussion. Yes, Alder Hamilton.
Thank you, Chair. Aaron Good has been always very loyal, hardworking on the fund, in previous years, and I don't see any reason why he wouldn't continue. So I'm in support of his reappointment.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
Mhm.
Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I move item number 11, the reappointment of James O'Connell to the Democracy Fund Board.
Second.
As we moved in second in discussion. No discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. The last one?
Number 12. Madam Chair,
Yes.
I move the reappointment of Mr. Sergio Rodriguez to the Democracy Fund Board.
Second.
Has been moved in second in discussion. Yes, Alder Guzman.
I'd just like to add one last final amendment, friendly amendment to this motion, make a motion to just amend the term expiration date from August 1st, 2025 to August 1st, 2024.
Thank you, Alder Guzman. Noted. Any further discussion?
Can't go wrong with, I'm sorry, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Sorry. Sorry, I spoke out of turn. I just want to recognize, I would just like to say, Sergio Rodriguez is one of our champions in our city, hard worker. They can't go wrong with him. He's dedicated, hardworking, and loyal. And I'm in support of his reappointment.
Thank you. You've got such wonderful people here giving you the raves, Mr. Rodriguez.
You're all blessed.
Is any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you.
Excellent.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Any discussion on that? Okay. A vote to adjourn for the evening. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. No opposition to that. Good night.
We're adjourned.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night, all.
Tom.
All right.